First of all, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. Above you, above us here, is a sign that we had made up about 3 years ago. This isn't a new sign. This isn't something that just happened over the last week. This is something that we've been planning on or worried about for the last 3 years. It's national news that the province of Ontario has decided to close the number of OLG slot facilities across the province. It's national news that the first to go is Fort Erie, Windsor, and Sarnia. And I want to tell the public at large why Fort Erie for Fort Erie, this is just plain wrong. And for how long we've been trying to get this message across to this province. First, a little background on Fort Erie, a wonderful community of 30,000 residents and about 10,000 summer residents. And somebody that's really happy to see us over there. During the 10-year period from 1992 to 2002, Fort Erie lost a number of jobs. Its major tourism destination attraction, the Crystal Beach Amusement Park, 250 jobs. Fleet Aerospace, 385 jobs. Cornell Canada, 238 jobs. Horton CBI, 400 jobs. Urban Aerospace, 80 jobs. Hart and Cooley, 70 jobs. While the absolute number is approximately 1,423, this represents more than 30% of the industrial employment jobs in Fort Erie at the time. From 2002 to the present, Fort Erie has been aggressive in restructuring its managing its economic development corporation and adopting municipal policies to fund and support business analysis, business retention programs, marketing programs, and building staff capacities to better manage and expedite the development process. Our business successes over this time frame include Fleet Canada restructuring 125 jobs, DMI 140 jobs, Truck King 80 jobs, Rich Products Expansion 80 jobs, Peninsula Alloy 52 jobs, Infocision 125 jobs. Number of expansions in our small projects that we have within our industrial community, another 50 jobs. So we have gained back 657 jobs. As a town, we don't whine to the province or go there to complain. We roll up our sleeves and create solutions. We've also developed several large-scale projects, such as the Canadian Motor Speedway, a $240 million project, the Miller Creek Marina project, $200 million. Both will create economic impact throughout Niagara and the Golden Horseshoe. But herein has our problem been with the province, that provincial policies and regulations have been passed that are conflicting with Fort Erie and frustrating our efforts to succeed. We're not talking about special measures here, just routine policies that by themselves seem not too bad, but taken together, they create a synergy that is completely negative for our town's growth, our town's future growth. Municipalities must develop only within their existing urban service boundaries. Essentially, the province has created a paradox. Developing pressure shall be funneled to growth centers like Niagara, South Niagara, but development shall only take place within urban service boundaries, regardless of infrastructure servicing needs, market demand, municipal planning goals, objectives, etc. The province pursued this rule and never ever asked the town of Fort Erie if the urban service boundaries made sense, which they do not, and if they needed to be modified first before adopting this policy. The provincially significant wetlands, I think we've all heard of the provincially significant wetlands. The expansion of this significant wetland mapping has been significantly constrained the ability to develop and service the little industrial land we have available within our urban boundaries. Specifically, in our case, our efforts to develop an urban, an industrial business park master plan, the original area originally defined as developable was slashed by almost 2/3 from over 300 hectares to less than 120 hectares as a direct result of the peninsula significant wetland mapping. Reduction in acreage in the subject area business park area has not only constrained the amount of land available for development, but by the nature of the wetlands legislation, buffering, complexing, etc., it also drives increases in the cost of servicing of the remaining lands, but the same amount of infrastructure is required to reach the developable lands. But the cost of such infrastructure must be spread over fewer acres of developable land, therefore driving increases in the cost of servicing per acre, which in turn makes what most otherwise would be prime industrial land along the Queen Elizabeth Way near the Canadian-US border much less marketable. You notice in the Toronto area, and all the way around the Greater Golden Horseshoe, there seems to be no problem developing those lands commercially and industrially along the Queen Elizabeth corridor. Only in Fort Erie do they designate us as a gateway economic zone and then sterilize all the lands that we have available for development. The resulting developable land, industrial lands, even if serviced, are not in economical units and have greatly reduced their market appeal. Employment and accessibility. The town of Fort Erie has a limited local municipal transit system. However, an almost complete lack of intermunicipal transportation exists in Niagara, especially in Niagara South, which acts to cut the remote community of Fort Erie out of the regional dynamic in Niagara. This situation creates a number of problems. One, those who cannot afford a vehicle must find employment in Fort Erie or relocate to other communities within Niagara. It limits our ability to move tourists to and from Fort Erie, Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, and Niagara-on-the-Lake, limiting our attractiveness and accessibility to tourists. It compromises and frustrates the accessibility or increased cost to Fort Erie residents seeking health care by having to go out of the municipality with no transit. It limits access for young people and senior citizens to amenities in neighboring communities, and vice versa, therefore limiting, stunning our quality of life. And regional events, activities are inaccessible to many cohorts in Fort Erie. Now, we have been working quite diligently on our intermunicipal transit, and Carla Stout, who is here, is doing a great job in getting there, but we're not there yet. And until we do, this is what's frustrating us here in the town of Fort Erie. Provincial energy policy sourcing. The province of Ontario's energy policy calls for significant increases in the utilization of alternative energy sources, wind power being the principal among them on a go-forward basis. To this end, the province of Ontario is pursuing a major wind energy projects in the province through provincial subsidies. Despite the fact that Fort Erie, Ontario is home to Ontario's only wind tower manufacturing facility, DMI Industries, there is no condition or provincial objective defined that supports domestic tower use in subsidized projects. It's perplexing that given that the Minister of Finance was happy to attend the grand opening of DMI and speak to all the wonderful implications of this new facility would have for the local, regional, and political economies, and given that the province is leading by Buy Ontario Steel campaign, and that the province would allow the industry to source these materials from outside the province when a world-class producer is here inside the province. Subsequent to our competing for and attracting DMI to Fort Erie, the province's green plan has frustrated their efforts in two major ways. Excuse me, the Samsung deal, which was a huge unknown, and so virtually every major wind power project in the planning stages was put on hold to find out what this means. The province was supporting CS Wind, a competitor in the wind tower business, at twice the size of DMI. We have the Miller Creek Marina. This is a private sector, public sector project brought forward to the Niagara Parks Commission. It was a creative solution to the Niagara Parks Commission dilemma of closing down its existing marina, the only marina on the Niagara River on the Canadian side. At a cost savings to a measure by the NPC, also generate revenue for the NPC and the town and the province. At almost $200 million, it will be a major tourist attraction and help Fort Erie, Niagara Falls, and Niagara region create more jobs and tax revenue. Yet the NPC, a Crown corporation, ergo the provincial government, has announced they will, after 6 years of working with the proponent, not proceed any further. And that brings us to the Fort Erie Racetrack. This is the 115th anniversary of this grand old track. The racetracks and the slots at the track program was extended in Fort Erie, and we need to give credit where credit is due. The province created an exception to the shared revenue formula for us here in Fort Erie. I don't think anyone really believed that we could run a track, let alone successfully, but through our Economic Development Tourism Corporation, we formed a not-for-profit corporation of the town of Fort Erie, the HBPA, the unions, the EDTC, and called it the Fort Erie Live Racing Consortium. The province was ready to close us down 2 years ago, and they basically said that you're not making enough money, we're going to close you down. Rather than saying, well, can we do it, complaining and saying there's nothing we can do about it, Jim Tiber, through his efforts and the EDTC in the town and all the other people involved, went to the OLG and said, this is how we can make it work. This is how we make it sustainable. We need your help. And to their credit, they did. It's working well. It was working well. And yet was absolutely zero consultation. The slots are being closed by this government, and the revenue sharing program is canceled. No warning, no transition, no care for the employees' future, except that they get good severance packages, which is really satisfying, I'm sure, to all those people that are working. This is not the way to treat employees. This is not the way to treat good partners. And this is not the way to treat a municipal government, especially our government here in the town of Fort Erie. So what does this government have at issue with the town of Fort Erie? We're not sure. As I said, this sign behind us wasn't made for today. It was made for several years ago because we weren't getting the action, and if it came to the conclusion that we weren't going to get our way, we were ready to use it then. Well, after 2 years, they've decided to cancel that project, and we need to do this today. So why don't they just keep knocking us backwards every time we have a good plan to go forward? Is to say we go to them with solutions, not with complaints, but with ideas of how to make it work. We have met formally for the past 6 years with the government, explained how these policies are killing our growth and our economic future. Every year we go to the province with what's called Niagara Week, and I should mention that we have our councillors here, Councillor Steckley, Councillor Facero, Councillor Hill, and Councillor Schuler, and Regional Councillor John Teal as well. And the reason we've been going to the province to bring those areas of concern to the province that we have. And every year, for the last 6 years that I've been going, we've had 2 things that have been specifically on the docket consistently, actually 3 things. One was our hospital, one was our racetrack, and one was the wetland problems that we're having, that we needed the province to give us help with. And every year, the province said, thanks for coming, nice to see you, we'll get back to you. And in 6 years, they have done absolutely nothing for this town. So today, and as last night we said, enough is enough. No more Mr. Nice Guy with Mr. Premier McGiffey. We've tried to work with you, we've done everything we can to work with you. We're telling you today that we need you, the provincial government of the province of Ontario, and in case you've forgotten, we are in the province of Ontario. But Mr. McGuinness needs to be here and really appreciate how these policies are dramatically affecting Fort Erie. And Fort Erie is a municipality, but it's made up of a community of people, many of you that are here today. We need the province's support to get some of these things moving faster, like the Canadian Moore Speedway, the Miller Creek Marina, and our industrial land service, so we can keep our legacy, the Fort Erie Racetrack. We're not giving up. We never have. We said today we're the little engine that could, and we'll continue to work for you. Now I'd like to turn the chair over to the mic over to Mr. T-Bear, manager of the EDTC and our CEO of the Fort Erie Life Consortium, to outline the plan that we want to take forward to the province for their consideration. Thank you very much.